Okay, so when you look at Isaiah 30, and it's describing this group of people that are called rebellious children, who say unto the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not. One thing that you have to understand is that that is not a rebuke to atheists and agnostics and kind of people just who don't claim to follow God. That's not a rebuke to them. That is a rebuke to people who are claiming to follow God. That is a rebuke to the people on the left and to the people on the right. That is a rebuke to the Christian church and to the Jewish synagogues and to the Torah movement that just attached themselves to the Jewish synagogues. So I keep talking about this in Romans 10 and Isaiah 52, that Paul asks the question of how are people going to hear the gospel in the last generation, and the answer is through the prophecy that's in Isaiah 52, which tells you that in the last generation God is going to raise up servants called watchmen who do what Ezekiel 2 and 3 says. They go out and watch, and they are going to be preaching the refreshing of the covenant. Now, within the refreshing of the covenant, you've got really the unjust steward. The unjust steward is a parable that Yeshua talks about in Luke 16 that 99% of the population don't understand. And really what that parable is all about is the short and sweet version of the gospel and understanding what it is that God actually desires from his people in this generation. And what that is to keep the 10 commandments, to eat clean, and to fulfill the royal law. The royal law is what James 2:8 calls loving your neighbor as yourself. This is what we have to do in order to, this is what God desires of us in this generation. Okay, now, when the servants are raised up in the last generation to proclaim these things, they are going to be hated, just like Yeshua told them that they would be. Now, they're hated from the people on the left in the Christian church because they're commanding them to keep the commandments that they find to be grievous. And then they're hated from the people on the right in the Torah movement and the Jewish synagogues because they despise prophecy, and even though they know that we have to keep the commandments, and they claim to keep the commandments, they don't want to fulfill the royal law because they have respect of persons and because they're scared to face the rejection and the persecution that the servants are going to face for doing these things. So really what you have to understand is that when you see warnings about rebellious children and these people who won't listen to the prophets, it's talking about people who are claiming to follow God. It's not talking about Gentiles and atheists and whatnot. It's talking about the people who are supposed to be listening to the prophets, but they're not. Okay, so if you're in the Christian church, you're in the Torah movement, really go and analyze that. Ask yourself, am I saying unto the prophets, prophesy not? Are you despising prophecy? Are you rejecting the calling to serve? Because I think you'll find most of you are. So go read it.